Well, this was not necessarily originally intended to be a series, but I guess it's going to be. Um, anyway, uh, for those who don't know, the last video was made by Pine Tree asking about a situation she experienced at work. My name is Shannon. I'm one of Pine Tree's headmates, and um, there's a thing that me and Pine Tree and Adrian have been kind of tossing around in our brains, trying to research a bit more. And that is because one of us saw a YouTube short about the concept of like parentification, um, in the sense of like doing like chores and like physical tasks and around the house and whatnot, um, or like taking care of younger siblings, things like that. And then we looked up emotional parentification and like the idea that like parents relying on kids for emotional support for things that the kid doesn't what's the word, like can't do. And these aren't necessarily things that we experience, but we feel like we've experienced this on like a lower level, like to a lesser extent, like not a lesser extent as in like I don't know, because I don't generally like feel like comparing um, problems, like comparing, like when people compare their issues. I don't necessarily think that's super helpful. But with that being said, um, like it wasn't in that like overt way of like, oh, my parents talked about things that I wasn't like ready for, or whatever. Also, apologies for the British accent. I was watching a British TV show before this. Um, yeah, diverse brain, picking up on accents and absorbing them into vocabulary. Um, which our brain does that really easily with British accents because we were in Mary Poppins in high school and had to do a British accent for that. We were like in the ensemble. So anyway, um, the point is, of like for us, it was normal like parent-child interactions as far as like a parent calling a child out on their bad behavior or a mistake they made or whatever. But in our case, it felt more like the call out was more about regulating the parent's frustration at us rather than like it being actually about like I don't know, teaching us how to do a thing. Like it always kind of felt like it was both our responsibility to not make that mistake again and also manage the parents' emotions in that situation. And I guess why I'm yammering on about this to my phone and then posting it to the internet is I'm curious if anyone else kind of feels like this and kind of feels like in a way that's kind of a parentification thing. Because we've also noticed this, like, we're adults, we still live at home. Because COVID has kind of made it harder for people in our age bracket to get jobs because, you lost time that you could have been working to quarantining. And obviously, I think that quarantine did happen. I'm not one of those anti-quarantine people. But I do think that obviously everything has, its own consequences and things. But the fact of the matter is I'm curious if anyone else feels like this, feels like some of the, what would look like on the surface, normal parent-child interactions, while on the surface they looked like it was the parent addressing an issue with the child, it was actually more about the parent's emotions and the child, like managing the parent's emotions rather than it being about the surface level thing of like, of what's what I'm looking for, like being about the issue that the kid's in trouble for. Um, like I guess if we're gonna use like a real world example, I'll use one that probably won't be. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to be vague because I feel like if I give explicit examples, someone might find that like triggering or upsetting in some ways. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a snowflake. We tend to call ourselves like hypersensitive snowflakes as like a joke, kind of like self-deprecation. We would never call anyone else that. Well, I don't know. We call bigots snowflakes because they can't handle anything, but that's not self-deprecating. That's just making fun of bigoted people. So basically, I guess a good example would be there was a time that like I took the wrong lunchbox to school. My mom had packed, her usual lunch. I'd accidentally taken my sister's empty lunchbox. I don't remember if I had to like charge lunch or if I got the cheese sandwich that you got if you didn't have any money on your account. I don't know, because they kind of did away with that after a few years. I do remember one time getting the cheese sandwich, and I think at the time I didn't like it, despite the fact that like now I will definitely eat a cheese sandwich even if it's not cooked. Anyway, because this was like an uncooked cheese sandwich. But anyway, point is, potential lunch that I ate that day aside. So got home. Dad found out we forgot the lunchbox, and it was like a 20-minute lecture about the fact that we forgot a lunchbox. Like, it was very obviously, and I guess maybe also why this is a good example is because it was like a simple mistake. Like, obviously, there's probably times where like, if we'd like behaved badly, like, if we hit our sister or if she did something wrong, like this would happen to her too. This isn't like just us. Both went through this. But like, it's like it's a simple mistake to forget your lunchbox. 20-minute lecture because he was so like frustrated and upset that we forgot our lunchbox. And looking back on that, like that was very obviously just him regulating his using that lecture as an opportunity to regulate his emotions. And I'm just curious if like anyone else has been through this, because a lot of the stuff we were trying to look, maybe emotional parentification isn't quite the right search term for what we've been through. I don't know, like it's weird. Like I don't know what the term is for it, if there even is one, if we're being overly sensitive, like it's just and like it wasn't a one-time thing. Like this is like a pattern of behavior, like that's happened a lot over time. And also we've noticed as we've gotten older that like, oh hey, that same parent can't handle being called out on their bullshit when they fuck up, but they're perfectly okay with screaming and yelling and throwing an absolute tantrum when other people fuck up. And they do this to everybody. It's not like they just do this to like their kids. This is just a them thing. And some people tolerate it, and to each their own. If you are someone who has the tolerance for that type of behavior, you have the patience of a saint. Good for you. Because I definitely do not have the patience for that shit. So yeah, this is both a rant and also just a commiseration session, I guess. I think the playlist we made, since there's now 2 videos essentially around the same vein of one another, is like, has anyone else been through? I also kind of wonder if it would make more sense to just call it, like maybe, what would I call it? Like, commiserating time, because that's essentially what this is just commiserating. So yeah, I hope that this commiserating helps someone else out there, and it isn't just like a selfish rant thing. Not that ranting is selfish, ranting is totally valid, and I totally think that people, like I literally saw this video, I think it was by Misha Petrov, maybe it was by someone else, but this person literally just complaining that people vent online about shit. It's like, you know what? Some people prefer to vent in video format and share it with other people, so that way people can talk about their shared lived experiences. Same thing with like public blogs and stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah. So yeah, have a lovely day, y'all.